The gala was supposed to be flawless. Crystal chandeliers glittered overhead, violins whispered through the air, and the city's most powerful men and women raised their champagne flutes in a toast to Alexander Drake, the youngest, most ruthless CEO in the country. But as Alexander stepped onto the stage to speak, something shifted. His glass slipped from his hand. It shattered against the marble floor. "Sir," his assistant gasped, rushing forward. Alexander's face had gone pale, his breath ragged. One hand clawed at his chest, as if something inside was tearing him apart. Gasps rippled across the hall. People screamed. The crowd surged forward, and then froze. No one dared to touch him. "The ambulance," his head of security barked into an earpiece.
"Now!"
But deep down, everyone knew the truth. They'd seen his decline in whispers, rumors of a rare blood disorder, something even the best doctors in Europe couldn't cure. The untouchable titan was crumbling before their eyes. Alexander fell to his knees, his vision blurring. His last conscious thought was bitter. "So this is how they'll see me.
Weak. Dying."
Outside, on the very steps of the glittering hotel, a girl wrapped in a torn gray hoodie was huddled against the cold. Elena had nothing but a battered backpack and a heart that refused to give up. She hadn't eaten since yesterday. The laughter and music spilling from the ballroom only made her ache more. Then she heard its screams. A rush of people. The heavy doors burst open. "They're bringing him out. Make way. Make way." Curiosity, or maybe instinct, pulled Elena to her feet. She pressed against the wall as a group of men carried a lifeless figure toward the waiting ambulance. Her breath caught. She recognized him instantly. Alexander Drake. The face that filled newspapers, the man whose empire dominated the city. Now pale, lips blue, body limp. And everyone was panicking. "His veins won't take it," a paramedic shouted. "He's rejecting the transfusion. We can't stabilize him. He'll die before we reach the hospital," another snapped. The crowd watched, horrified, but distant, too terrified to step forward, too concerned with their gowns and reputations. Elena's heart slammed against her ribs. She didn't think, she moved. "Wait," she shouted, shoving through the wall of security. One of the guards grabbed her arm. "Get back." "I'm O-negative," Elena cried, her voice cracking. "Universal donor. Use me, just try." The words hung in the air like a thunderclap. The paramedics exchanged frantic looks. "She's homeless," someone hissed in disgust. "God knows what's in her blood." "Do you want him to die?" Elena shot back, her voice trembling but fierce. "You're out of time." The lead paramedic hesitated only a second before barking. "Strap her in."
"Now."
Inside the ambulance, Elena's world blurred into chaos. Needles, straps, flashing lights. She winced as the needle pierced her arm, her blood flowing into the line connected to Alexander Drake's failing body. Her gaze drifted to him. Even unconscious, his presence was suffocating. Strong jaw clenched in pain, dark hair plastered against his forehead with sweat, his chest rising in shallow, desperate gasps. He looked nothing like the untouchable figure from magazine covers. He looked human, breakable. And I'm the one keeping him alive. The thought rattled her bones. Minutes stretched like hours. Elena felt her strength draining, but she refused to close her eyes. Then, suddenly, Alexander's body convulsed. His heartbeat monitor spiked. Color flushed faintly back into his face. The paramedic's voice cracked with relief. "We've got him. He's stabilizing, heart rate returning." Elena's body sagged against the seat. Tears blurred her vision. She didn't know why she'd done it, why she'd risked herself for a man who would never even glance her way. But as his eyelids fluttered open for a fleeting second, his gaze locked on hers. Dark eyes, fevered yet piercing, met hers with a force that stole her breath. And then he whispered, hoarse, broken, but unmistakable, "Who are you?" Before she could answer, the siren wailed louder. The doors slammed shut, and the ambulance sped into the night, carrying them both into a storm neither could have imagined. The smell of antiseptic burned Elena's nose. She woke to the harsh, white glare of hospital lights and the steady beep of machines. For a moment she thought it had been a dream, until she turned her head. Alexander Drake lay in the bed beside hers. The most powerful man in the city, the man whose empire could crush anyone with a single phone call, looked fragile, almost breakable. His chest rose and fell under thin sheets. Monitors tethered him to life, and an oxygen tube traced across his face. And her blood was still running through him. Elena's throat tightened. She tried to sit up, but a nurse appeared, frowning. "You should rest. You've lost a lot of blood." "I'm fine," Elena rasped, though the room swam around her. Her gaze locked back on Alexander. "Why him? Why me?" The door burst open. A storm of expensive perfume and clacking heels filled the room before a woman appeared, a vision of elegance in a designer suit. Her eyes were ice as they scanned Elena with open disgust. "What is she doing here?" The woman snapped at the nurse. "Get her out."
Now.
Elena stiffened. The woman turned her attention to Alexander's unconscious form, her expression softening with calculated sorrow. "Oh, Alexander, you can't leave me like this." The nurse murmured something about Elena being the blood donor, but the woman cut her off sharply. "And you thought letting a filthy street girl lie next to him was acceptable?" Heat crawled up Elena's neck, humiliation and anger colliding. But before she could react, the woman reached for Alexander's hand, pressing her lips to his knuckles as if staking a claim. Something inside Elena snapped. "Don't touch him like you own him," she said, her voice low but sharp enough to slice through the room. The nurse gasped. The elegant woman turned slowly, disbelief flashing into rage. "Excuse me?" Elena stood, swaying but unbroken. "While you were too busy saving your mascara, I was the one who gave him my blood. He's breathing because of me. So don't you dare act like I don't belong here." The air turned electric. Even the nurse froze, wide-eyed. For the first time in years, someone had challenged this woman's authority, and that someone was a homeless girl in a borrowed hospital gown. The woman's lips curled. "You'll regret those words." "Maybe," Elena shot back, her eyes blazing. "But I won't regret saving him." A groan cut through the tension. All eyes snapped toward the bed. Alexander stirred, eyelids fluttering open. His gaze unfocused, then sharpened, landing first on Elena. "You," he whispered hoarsely. The elegant woman rushed to him. "Alexander, darling, it's me, Vivian. Don't strain yourself." But he didn't look at her. His hand lifted weakly, trembling, reaching toward Elena. The room froze. Vivian's face drained of color. Elena's heart slammed in her chest. "Who are you?" Alexander rasped again, his eyes burning into hers. Before she could answer, security swarmed the door, summoned by Vivian's fury. "Remove her," she barked. "She's a parasite. She'll contaminate him." A guard reached for Elena's arm. But Elena did what no one expected. Instead of shrinking back, she wrenched free, planted herself at the foot of Alexander's bed, and lifted her chin defiantly. "If you drag me out, then remember, when he asks tomorrow who kept him alive, you'll have to explain why you threw me away." Her words rang like steel. Even the guards hesitated. Alexander's gaze never left her. His lips curved, just barely, into something unreadable. Not quite a smile. Not quite a frown. "Let her stay," he rasped. The command was weak, but it landed like a thunderclap. Vivian's mouth fell open. The guards froze. Elena's pulse roared in her ears. She had no idea why she said what she did, no idea what would come next. But for the first time in years, she hadn't let the world shove her down. And the dying CEO, the man no one could save, had chosen her. The rain beat against the wide hospital windows like impatient fingers. Inside the private suite, silence reigned, except for the steady beeping of monitors and the faint rustle of papers. Alexander Drake sat propped against his pillows, pale but upright, his eyes fixed on the woman sitting across from him. Elena shifted uncomfortably in the visitor's chair. She was painfully aware of the way his gaze clung to her, piercing, unreadable, as though he were dissecting her very soul. Finally, he spoke. His voice was still hoarse, but the steel beneath it was unmistakable.
"You."
Tell me your name. Elena. Her answer was clipped, her chin lifting despite the weight of his stare. That's all you need to know. Alexander's lips curved faintly, almost amused. You saved my life, Elena. That gives you no right to be rude to me. No, she countered, folding her arms. It gives me the right to walk away without owing you a thing. The words hit harder than he expected. People begged for his attention, board members, rivals, women who lined up just for a glance. And yet this girl, with her thrift store clothes and guarded eyes, spoke to him as if he were just another man. For a moment, he almost admired it. Almost. But then the door burst open again. Vivian swept in, her heels clicking like gunfire on the polished floor. She carried a bouquet of white roses, which she set dramatically at his bedside. Alexander, she purred, ignoring Elena entirely. The board is already planning a press release. They'll want to reassure investors about your condition. Don't worry, I'll handle everything for you. Alexander's gaze flicked toward Elena, almost unconsciously, as if waiting to see her reaction. Elena, however, remained still, arms crossed, her expression unreadable. She wasn't intimidated by Vivian's sharp suit or expensive perfume. Vivian noticed and hated it. And why is she still here? Vivian hissed, turning on Elena. A hospital is no place for charity cases. Do you realize how dangerous it is to expose Alexander to whatever she's carrying? Elena rose slowly, her eyes narrowing. I've given more to him in one night than you have in your whole life. Maybe sit down before you embarrass yourself. Vivian's face turned crimson. You. Enough, Alexander cut in, his voice low but commanding. Vivian froze instantly. His eyes, however, remained locked on Elena. Stay, he ordered. Elena stiffened. Excuse me? I want you here, he said, his gaze unwavering. Until I decide otherwise. It was madness. Elena felt her pulse quicken.
What does he mean by that?
Why me? Vivian sputtered, livid. Alexander, you can't be serious. She's nothing. For the first time, Alexander's expression hardened toward Vivian. Leave us. The silence afterward was deafening. Vivian stormed out, slamming the door behind her. Elena's heart hammered, but she forced herself to glare back at him. I don't need your charity. This isn't charity, Alexander said softly, almost dangerously. It's curiosity. The words sent a shiver down her spine.
She took a step back.
Then find someone else to satisfy it. I'm not one of your toys, Mr. Drake. The sharpness in her tone should have angered him. Instead, it ignited something else, a dangerous fascination. He leaned forward, pain flashing briefly across his features as he moved. You think you can just walk away after tying your blood to mine? No, Elena. You've stepped into my world, whether you like it or not. Her breath caught. For a terrifying moment, it felt less like a bond and more like a chain. Then maybe I regret it, she whispered. The words silenced the room. His jaw tightened, his eyes darkening into something unreadable. Before he could answer, the nurse hurried in. Mr. Drake, your vitals are spiking again. You need rest. Alexander sank back against the pillows, his eyes never leaving Elena. And Elena, for all her bold words, couldn't look away either. Outside the suite, Vivian pressed her ear to the door, fury twisting her features. If Alexander was already obsessed with that girl, then Elena wouldn't just be a problem. She would be a target. The city glittered beneath the hospital's windows, 1,000 lights burning against the night sky. Elena pressed her palms against the cool glass, her reflection fractured by streaks of rain. She needed to leave. Every second in this place made her feel like prey, under Vivian's venomous stares, under Alexander's piercing gaze that seemed to strip her of every wall she'd built. But when she turned, she found him watching her again. Alexander was stronger now, sitting upright, his suit jacket draped loosely over his hospital gown. Even weakened, he radiated command. You keep trying to run, he said softly.
Why?
Elena forced a laugh. Because men like you destroy everything you touch. Something flickered across his face. Anger, maybe, or hurt. He opened his mouth to respond, but the door swung open. His assistant, Ethan, entered, carrying a sleek black folder. "Sir," Ethan said cautiously, glancing at Elena. "It's about her." Elena froze. Alexander's brows knit. "What do you mean?" Ethan hesitated, then set the folder on the table. "We ran a background check. It's standard protocol for anyone this close to you. But there's something you should see." Elena's stomach plummeted. "You had me investigated?" Alexander ignored her, flipping the file open. His eyes scanned the pages, his expression shifting. First confusion, then shock, then a storm of rage. "Elena." "Carter," he whispered, his voice jagged. She closed her eyes. The name she hadn't heard spoken aloud in years sliced through her like glass. Alexander's hand clenched the file. "You worked for my company. 6 years ago. Accounting division. You disappeared after accusations of embezzlement." His voice dropped, cold and sharp. "Do you have any idea what that did to my reputation?" Elena's chest burned. "I didn't steal a dime." "Then why did you vanish?" His voice thundered in the sterile room, every word an accusation. "Why live on the streets instead of clearing your name?" Tears stung her eyes, but she held her ground. "Because someone made sure I couldn't fight back. Your fiancé at the time." She spat the word like poison. "Vivian." She planted evidence, twisted everything, and when I tried to defend myself, nobody believed me. Not your managers. Not your board. Not you. Alexander's breath caught. The air crackled with tension. "Vivian," he murmured, disbelief flashing in his eyes. "She ruined me," Elena whispered. "I lost my job, my apartment, everything. 1 week I was a promising employee, the next I was trash on the street. Do you have any idea what it's like to be invisible? To starve while the city steps over you?" Her voice broke, raw and trembling. "That night I gave you my blood. I didn't do it for you. I did it because I couldn't stand by and watch another life be stolen while everyone else looked away." The silence that followed was suffocating. Alexander's fists tightened on the folder, knuckles white. Rage boiled beneath his calm facade, not at her, but at himself, at the blind trust he had given Vivian, at the years lost. "Elena," his voice was low, dangerous. "If what you say is true." "It is," she cut in, fire blazing through her tears. "And you're too smart not to know it." Their eyes locked, the air between them thick with fury, pain, and something neither wanted to name. The door burst open again. Vivian swept in, her timing perfect, her expression sweetly concerned. "Alexander, you shouldn't be stressing yourself." She froze when she saw the open file on his lap. Alexander's gaze snapped to her, colder than ice. "Vivian, we need to talk." Vivian's smile faltered. For the first time, fear flickered in her eyes. And Elena, standing by the window, knew this was only the beginning. The rain hadn't stopped since that night, the night her blood had pulled a dying man back from the brink of death. Elena pressed her palms against the chilled glass of the hospital window, the city lights beyond blurred into streaks by the storm. Her reflection stared back at her. Pale, exhausted, the shadows under her eyes proof that she hadn't left his side since the transfusion. She was nobody, a girl who'd slept on subway benches, who counted coins for stale bread, yet her blood now flowed inside the veins of Adrian King, the most powerful CEO in the city. And she couldn't stop thinking about it. Behind her, the steady rhythm of machines broke the silence. Then, a cough, low, sharp, alive. Elena spun. Adrian's eyes were open. For a moment, she froze, her breath stuck in her throat. The man who'd been declared beyond saving was now awake, his gaze flicking around the room, sharp as if clawing back control of reality itself. "You," his voice was hoarse, gravel dragged across stone. His eyes locked on her. "Who are you?" Elena's lips trembled. "No one. Just no one." The door burst open. Doctors and nurses rushed in, their exclamations filling the room. "Mr. King is conscious. His vitals are stabilizing." They crowded around him, but Adrian's gaze never left Elena. Even as questions were thrown at him, even as the medical staff marveled at the impossible, He watched her like a puzzle he refused to let slip away. Elena backed toward the door, heat rising in her chest. She didn't belong here. She had to leave before anyone realized she was the ragged girl from the streets. But just as she reached for the handle, his voice cut through the chaos. "Stop her." Every head turned. Elena froze. The room fell into silence until Adrian repeated, stronger this time, "Don't let her leave." Two guards stationed outside stepped in immediately, blocking her path. Elena's chest tightened, panic sparking. I don't belong here. Please, just let me go." Adrian's lips curved into something unreadable, a shadow of command slipping back into place despite his weakened state. "You're the reason I'm alive. No one lets her go." The weight of his words crashed over Elena, heavier than chains. She shook her head, her voice barely a whisper. "I didn't do it for you. I just couldn't watch someone die." But her heart betrayed her. It pounded wildly, not just from fear, but from the strange pull she felt every time his eyes met hers. The doctors muttered among themselves, one leaning in to whisper to Adrian, "She's the donor. The one who saved you." Adrian nodded once, a decision crystallizing. "Then she's under my protection. Effective immediately." Elena's throat went dry. Protection? From what? She wanted to argue, to insist she didn't need a powerful man dictating her life. But a flicker of something else in his expression stopped her, something softer buried beneath the steel. Gratitude. Maybe even awe. The storm outside cracked with thunder, echoing the storm rising between them. Hours later, Elena sat in the corner of his private hospital suite, wrapped in a blanket someone had pressed into her hands. She didn't ask for it, but she hadn't had warmth like this in years. Adrian rested in the massive bed, his strength slowly seeping back into him. For a long time, neither spoke. Finally, his voice low but steady. "I should be dead. My enemies made sure of it. But you," his eyes burned into her, sharp and unyielding. "You gave me back my life. Tell me your name." Elena clenched the blanket tighter. Giving him her name felt dangerous. Yet something about the raw honesty in his tone broke through her walls. "Elena." He repeated it, as if testing the taste of it. "Elena." His gaze softened for the briefest moment. "You've bound yourself to me now, whether you wanted to or not. I owe you a debt written in blood." Her chest tightened, both at his words and the weight behind them. This wasn't gratitude.
It was a vow.
A dangerous one. Elena shook her head, her voice trembling. "You don't owe me anything. I don't want your money or your world. I just want to disappear." Adrian's expression hardened, his businessman steel returning. "Disappear? After saving me?"
No.
"Whoever targeted me will come for you too. They'll dig until they find the woman whose blood revived me. And when they do," his eyes darkened, a flash of fury breaking through. "I won't let them touch you." Her breath caught. He wasn't just binding her to him out of guilt. He was chaining her to his world of danger, power, and enemies. And yet, why did some secret part of her feel safer under his vow than she'd ever felt in her life? The silence thickened until Elena whispered, almost against her will, "Why me?" Adrian didn't hesitate. "Because fate chose you." But before Elena could respond, the suite door creaked open. A man in a crisp suit entered, Adrian's most trusted aide, his expression grim. He leaned close to the CEO's ear and whispered something that drained the color from Adrian's face. Adrian's fists clenched against the sheets. His jaw tightened. "They know." Elena's pulse spiked. "Who knows?" Adrian's eyes found hers, fierce and protective. "The people who tried to kill me, they know about you." Elena's blood turned to ice. And for the first time, she realized her act of saving him hadn't just tethered their lives together. It had painted a target on her back. The elevator door slid shut with a metallic hiss, trapping Elena inside with the man whose heartbeat she had once restarted with her own blood. "Why are you here?" Adrian's voice was sharp, his commanding tone cutting through the air like glass. The faint scent of his cologne mixed with the sterile chill of the elevator, surrounding her in something that felt suffocatingly intimate. Elena swallowed hard, gripping the worn strap of her second-hand bag. I didn't come here for you. But his eyes, dark, unreadable, and burning with a storm he refused to name, locked onto hers. Don't lie to me. Ever since that night, I feel you everywhere. In every breath, every step.
Why?
What are you hiding from me, Elena? Her pulse thundered. She wanted to scream the truth, to tell him she had nothing left but her own dignity. That she hadn't asked to be tangled in his world, or to feel the weight of his gaze like it had power over her very bones. Instead, she whispered, you shouldn't even remember me. His jaw clenched, veins shifting along his temple. But I do. I remember your voice begging me to fight, your hand on mine, the warmth of your blood, saving me when no one else could. His voice broke, softer now, but more dangerous for its vulnerability. You think I can forget that? You think I want to? The elevator chimed, doors opening into the top floor of Steelheart Tower. His empire. His kingdom. And she? She didn't belong here. Elena rushed out, desperate to escape his gravity. But Adrian caught her wrist, pulling her back with a force that wasn't cruel but desperate. Their bodies collided, the air between them sparking with the tension of everything unspoken. Why do you run from me? He asked, his voice low, almost broken. Her throat tightened. Because I don't fit in your world. I was nobody, Adrian. Just a girl on the street. You. She gestured at the gleaming glass office around them. You belong here. I don't. His eyes searched her face, as though the answer to every question lay within her trembling expression. And yet you're the only one who's ever made me feel alive. The words struck her harder than any threat could. She wanted to hate him for them, for making her heart stutter when she had no right to feel anything for a man like him. But before she could respond, the glass doors to the boardroom swung open. Adrian. A sleek woman in a tailored suit strode in, her stiletto heels clicking against the polished marble. Tall, elegant, with sharp cheekbones and a smile that didn't reach her eyes, she was everything Elena was not. We need to talk.
Now.
Elena tried to pull free, but Adrian's grip lingered a moment longer before he finally released her. Not now, Cassandra, he said flatly. The woman's eyes flicked to Elena, raking her from head to toe with disdain. Who is this? Elena's breath caught. She suddenly felt like an intruder, an outsider caught in a war she never meant to enter. Adrian's silence was deafening. Cassandra arched a brow, her voice like poisoned honey. Don't tell me this stray is the reason you've been distracted. The reason you nearly died. Elena's chest tightened. Stray. The word cut deeper than Cassandra could know. Adrian's eyes darkened, his voice steel. Watch your words. But Elena had heard enough. She snatched her hand back, her voice shaking. You don't need to defend me. I don't belong here. I never did. And before either of them could stop her, she turned and fled down the corridor, her footsteps echoing like gunshots against the marble floor. Adrian took a step after her, torn between duty and something far more dangerous. But Cassandra's voice stopped him cold. She's going to ruin you. He froze, his fists clenching at his sides. Cassandra's words weren't just venom. They were prophecy. He knew it. He felt it. Because the more he reached for Elena, the more he risked everything he had built. His empire, his name, his power. But as her shadow disappeared into the distance, one truth thundered in his chest louder than any fear. He would rather lose it all than lose her.